current situation between Iran and Israel is reaching a critical point, with both nations preparing for potential conflict, creating widespread concern in the Middle East and beyond. Historically, the hostility between Iran and Israel has roots in the ideological, political, and strategic differences that have existed since the Iranian Revolution of 1979. This revolution led to the establishment of the Islamic Republic, which adopted a strong anti-Israel stance, advocating for the liberation of Palestine and rejecting Israel's legitimacy as a state. Since then, Iran's leadership has consistently viewed Israel as an adversary, and this opposition has been a driving force behind much of its foreign policy, particularly in supporting groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon. Israel, for its part, sees Iran as one of its most significant security threats. Tehran's support for militant groups like Hezbollah, which has engaged in multiple conflicts with Israel, poses a direct risk to Israeli citizens and the nation's territorial integrity. Moreover, Iran's pursuit of nuclear technology, even though claimed to be for peaceful purposes, has been a cause of deep concern for Israel and much of the international community. The fear that Iran might be on the path to developing a nuclear weapon has led Israel to take covert and diplomatic actions over the years to prevent such an outcome. Israel's concerns over Iran's nuclear ambitions have been a major factor in its foreign policy, shaping its relationships with other regional and global powers. The situation in 2024 has brought these long-standing tensions to a head. Israel has reportedly completed a list of strategic targets in Iran, which it would likely strike in the event of military action. These targets include military installations, missile facilities, and sites related to Iran's nuclear program. Israeli officials have emphasized that any strikes would focus solely on these military objectives and would avoid civilian infrastructure, a concession aimed at maintaining international support, particularly from the United States. This careful targeting strategy is designed to mitigate the risk of collateral damage and prevent the conflict from spiraling into a broader regional war. Nevertheless, the possibility of miscalculation or escalation remains a significant concern. Iran, meanwhile, has responded with strong rhetoric, signaling its readiness to retaliate if attacked. Iranian military officials, including those from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, have issued warnings about the consequences Israel would face if it proceeded with military action. Tehran has even hinted at possessing advanced capabilities, with Iranian generals suggesting that the country has a secret weapon that could surpass nuclear weapons in its destructive power. While the details of this weapon remain unclear, such statements are likely intended to deter Israel from launching any preemptive strikes. The United States, which has long been a close ally of Israel, finds itself in a delicate position. While the Biden administration has provided Israel with advanced missile defense systems and other military support, it has also urged restraint. U.S. officials have been working to prevent the situation from escalating into full-blown conflict, emphasizing the importance of a proportionate response to any provocations from Iran. Washington's involvement is critical, as any direct conflict between Iran and Israel could have profound implications for U.S. interests in the region, particularly in terms of maintaining stability in the Gulf and protecting American military personnel stationed in the Middle East. The potential consequences of an Israeli strike on Iran's nuclear facilities are another source of concern. While Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has reportedly assured President Biden that any strikes would avoid nuclear sites, there remains the possibility that some of Iran's nuclear infrastructure could be targeted. Experts have warned that attacking Iran's nuclear facilities could result in dangerous radioactive fallout, depending on which sites are hit. For example, an attack on facilities with centrifuges for enriching uranium might not cause significant environmental damage, but an attack on a more sensitive site, such as a reactor or a facility with highly enriched uranium, could have far-reaching consequences. Another key factor in the current crisis is the role of Iran's nuclear program. Since the United States withdrew from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, in 2018, Iran has significantly expanded its uranium enrichment activities. Under the terms of the JCPOA, Iran had been limited to enriching uranium to a purity of 3.67%, far below the level required for a nuclear weapon. However, following the collapse of the agreement, Iran has been enriching uranium to much higher levels, reaching as high as 60%. The gap between 60% enrichment and the 90% enrichment required for a nuclear weapon is relatively small, meaning that Iran could potentially develop a nuclear bomb in a short time if it chose to do so. This development has been a source of significant concern for Israel, which has long viewed the possibility of a nuclear-armed Iran as an existential threat. While Iran has consistently denied that it is seeking to develop nuclear weapons, insisting that its nuclear program is for peaceful purposes, Israeli officials and many in the international community remain skeptical. The fear is that if Iran were to obtain a nuclear weapon, it would fundamentally alter the balance of power in the Middle East, prompting other regional powers, such as Saudi Arabia and Egypt, to pursue their own nuclear programs. The possibility of a nuclear arms race in the Middle East is particularly worrying. If Iran were to develop a nuclear weapon, it could trigger a cascade of nuclear proliferation in the region. Countries like Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Egypt might feel compelled to develop their own nuclear capabilities in response, creating a highly unstable and dangerous situation. This scenario would significantly increase the risk of a nuclear conflict in the Middle East, a region already fraught with complex political and sectarian divisions. The military capabilities of both Israel and Iran are significant, making any conflict between the two nations highly dangerous. Israel has one of the most advanced militaries in the world, equipped with cutting-edge technology, including F-35 fighter jets and long-range missiles. Its air force is renowned for its precision and effectiveness, and Israel has shown in the past that it is willing and able to carry out long-range strikes, such as the 1981 attack on Iraq's Osirak nuclear reactor and the 2007 strike on Syria's nuclear facility. Israel's missile defense systems, particularly the Iron Dome, have proven highly effective in protecting against short-range rockets. In addition, the country has developed advanced systems to counter longer-range threats such as the Arrow missile defense system, which is capable of intercepting ballistic missiles. These systems provide Israel with a robust defense against potential Iranian missile strikes, but they are not foolproof, and a large-scale attack could overwhelm these defenses. Iran, while not as technologically advanced as Israel, has developed a range of military capabilities that make it a formidable adversary. Iran's missile program is one of the most advanced in the region, with the ability to strike targets across the Middle East, including Israel. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, which plays a key role in Iran's military strategy, has developed a range of ballistic missiles, including the Shahab-3 and Sejal missiles, which have ranges capable of reaching Israeli cities and military installations. In addition to its missile capabilities, Iran has a significant network of regional allies and proxy groups that it can rely on in the event of conflict. Groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon, Shia militias in Iraq, and the Houthis in Yemen are aligned with Iran and could be activated to launch attacks against Israeli targets or U.S. interests in the region. This asymmetric warfare strategy allows Iran to project power and influence beyond its borders, complicating any military response by Israel or its allies. Another critical element of Iran's strategy is its ability to disrupt global oil supplies through the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway through which a significant portion of the world's oil passes. Iran has previously threatened to close the strait in response to military action, and any conflict with Israel could lead Tehran to carry out these threats. Disruption to global oil supplies would have significant economic consequences, not just for the Middle East, but for the global economy. The involvement of regional and international players is also shaping the dynamics of the conflict. While Israel and Iran are the primary actors, other countries have a stake in the outcome. The United States, as Israel's closest ally, plays a critical role in providing military support and diplomatic backing. However, the U.S. is also wary of being drawn into a larger conflict, particularly given its recent efforts to reduce its military presence in the Middle East and shift its focus to other regions, such as the Asia-Pacific. Gulf states, particularly Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, are also closely watching the situation. These countries share Israel's concerns about Iran's growing influence in the region, and they have been working quietly behind the scenes to build closer ties with Israel. While these Gulf states have not publicly supported Israel in its confrontation with Iran, they are likely to be supportive of any efforts to contain Tehran's influence, especially if it threatens regional stability. In conclusion, the Iran-Israel conflict remains a critical issue with wide-ranging implications for regional and global stability. As tensions continue to mount, the need for diplomacy and cautious action is greater than ever. To stay updated on the latest developments in this evolving situation, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more in-depth analysis and breaking news. Stay informed, stay engaged.